Hey, good morning. We are here at Gamehole Con. It is Saturday. It is a beautiful morning, and we're here for beer brunch. This is Mel with Guys, Games, and Beer, and I am here with.
Drunken Larry from Guys, Games, and Beer. And yeah, oh boy, this is like beginning of day three, really kind of day four because it was set up and, well,
Not like
we're
you're on
getting pretty
Survivor.
tired.
Like,
But
this is day three.
we're excited to have people with us. So who is with us?
David Lapp, Pine Box Entertainment.
I'm Darrell Hayhurst, Creative Director of Pinnacle Entertainment Group.
Welcome. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
This
So,
episode's a twofer.
it's a twofer. It's true. It's true. So,
So
what are you up to at Gamehole
it's a
this year?
twofer, just to kind of explain the relationship. As you guys know, in the past, we've done the podcast to talk about Doomtown, which we licensed from Pinnacle Entertainment Group. So since we share in a booth together, we figured we would share the podcast together too.
Perfect.
Oh, okay. I was wondering about that.
That's not all we share.
Oh.
Wow.
So
Could get spice there.
last year we focused on Doomtown, the Dead of Blood expansion. So this year I wanted to talk about 7C now that we have an expansion for that. So 7C, I think last time, if I remember right, we just had the little demo decks that we showed off. So
I think
now
that's true.
we have the full game, which we're showing off on the prop camera right now. The base set that comes with all the decks shown there, the rule book, the learn to play book, and the token sheet. And then it has tarot card versions of the 3 locations. One
That
of
would
them's
be the
pointed on
deck
the bottom.
underneath the stuffed
Yeah, the
animal?
little card there. Oh no, so I'll go into
Oh.
stuffed animal. So
Oh.
what happened with the stuffed animal was, a little story behind that. We did part of the Kickstarter. We had to design a card pledge level, and one of our players wanted to put their cat into the game
Okay.
and wanted to commission Charles Urbach, the artist that did the Musketeer cover for the base set, and we used that for the expansion, which we then aptly named Tooth and Claw. So the cat's name is Mista, and then Level Up Dice that works with us on different swag products said, hey, we can make stuffed animals. So now we have
Oh
a
my
stuffed
God.
Mista cat. What
Oh
we do
my
is you
gosh.
can buy it on our
Super
website
cute.
for pineboxentertainment.com. He's $25, and he
Nice.
comes with a foil card of Mista from the game.
Wow.
And when we're at conventions like this that Charles is at, he will sign the foil card for everybody.
Wow.
Tooth and Claw just adds more cards to the game
Okay.
itself. It's out now. It's in stores. It's on our website. We're running a tournament today. And then we'll have our next tournament at PAX Unplugged. We also have our next organized play kit is now up for sale, called Speak of the Devil. Everyone's going to vote on characters to kill in the games they play.
Okay.
And then they have until March to submit their events. That's also $25. Stores and organizers can order it. And then we're in development now is Fate and Fortune, which is the next expansion that will add leaders to the game. So we have 1 leader for each 5 factions in the main game, and then there will be 1 more leader per faction in the next set, which will be early 2025.
You
Now,
are very
wh-
busy.
This
Dang.
came out. Didn't it come out like early 2000 or early, like the original?
So there was an original CCG where you're on boats, and this one is very character driven. So we're doing dueling in a city. So the fencing and swordplay mechanics are similar to the original CCG a little bit, but instead of doing the naval combat, we focused on the characters. So we have an ongoing fiction on the website that, and Studio Agate is now doing some of the role playing stuff, and we're trying to maybe work with them on, making sure all our 5 sales stuff is canon with what they're doing with Chaosium. So yeah, we're trying to stay busy and trying to do a lot of player engagement, so players feel like they're involved with the story, which is something we still do with Doomtown.
If you get the base set, I mean, you have everything to sit down and play. Right?
Yeah. So the way I compare it is, for those that were familiar with the Fantasy Flight Living card games, they charged $120 because you had to get 3 boxes at $40 each to get everything. We charge half of that at $60, and you get everything. You can build all 5 factions out of 1 box.
Okay. And then the expansion just.
The expansion
Add-
just
add.
adds cards. It adds variety. There's not a big theme to it where the next one's gonna have leaders. The one after that, we're working on making a little more deluxe, like having maybe adding co-op and solo play. But that one's just kind of just straight add some cards to the game.
Okay. And it's going well so far?
Yeah, it's going well so far. We do a Gen Con storyline event. We're gonna do one for the UK at Patriot Games in Sheffield. They've been a big supporter, so rather than have a con event over there, we're gonna give them the UK event. We don't have that scheduled yet, but that's something we're gonna be doing next year.
Okay, so you've been selling this internationally then?
Yeah, international. Spiral Galaxy in Europe has been helping us with distribution, and we're gonna start working with JMS that Pinnacle works with to try to even expand further.
Oh,
Very cool.
very cool. Do we want to move to the next one? All right.
So we do Savage World is our core role playing game. What we got up there is what are called our players books.
Okay.
So you got the core book, which is $40, and back in the day we had Savage Worlds Deluxe, which was $10, which was the most screaming deal in gaming. The problem was that it's so cheap that the shipping was like 4 times as much as the book. And we're like, all right, we kind of need to change this up a little bit.
Wow.
So we got, healthier, larger books, but people kind of missed that, like that deluxe intro. So the players books are our version of that, where it's cut down and it's the stuff that you use at the table. You're like, oh, everyone needs to advance their character. All right, rather than handing one core book around, the players books got all the stuff that you need for that, and then the GM still probably needs the regular book. It's got the GM advice and a little more detail and depth on how things work. But to cover the basics, you got those. And what those are kind of exclusive covers.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? When we put them out, like there's a regular retail cover that's like the default one. But when we did the Kickstarter, we're like, all right, we're gonna do this like comic book style and just have like 5 different.
It's gorgeous.
We had like
So these are the same book, just
they're
different covers.
all the same inside,
gotcha.
exactly. And in fact, they're the same in like they're half of the regular adventure edition book, right? It's the same material, just packaged different, for your vibe.
With a little,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right. So underneath those is one of the box sets that we do. So like we're swinging on 2 different ends here. Like the players books are like, oh yeah, these are your kind of cheap entry or whatever. Players boxes are a little beefier. That's 150. That's Legend of Ghost Mountain. So I know it's pretty heavy.
It is heavy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have this ongoing theory that basically
It's usually spot on, let me say.
if you want to know a price of a game, pick it up, and it's about $10 a pound for any game. Doesn't matter what the game is. if it feels about 10 pounds, it's gonna be $100 game.
Nice.
And it seems to work out.
Yeah, I mean, pretty close on that one, but yeah, it's beefy. And the original pitch, like it was an idea that had been in Shane Hensley's mind for quite a while, like ever since he saw Kung Fu Panda. And he was like literally his pitch was like, I want to do Kung Fu Panda without the panda. I'm like, all right, no, we got this, like, and
What's wrong with the panda?
well, we're Savage Worlds, not Fluffy Panda Worlds, right? Like,
This can be savage.
You got a mean face.
Also, that one's trademarked. So.
Fair. That's fair.
But I've been working with them for a while, and like he knew, like Wuxia is my first love.
Yeah.
Like I just eat, drink, sleep for stuff. So he's like, you might be the person to make this idea happen. So he talked to me, and yeah, we went through it, and I pitched a bunch of ideas, and he's like, no, that's not at all what I had in mind. And then we redid it, right? But that's part of the process.
Right.
You pitch it, and you didn't even know that wasn't what you wanted until you saw it, right? But we've got the kind of relationship where we can do that. You go back and forth, like, here's the real idea. And then what we got, like the core idea that we got to was regular Kung Fu is based on animal movement. Right?
Yeah.
And we wanted our world, like this is not China, right? Like this is a different fantasy world, right? Like how do we differentiate and how do we bring it to the table, role playing in a way that you're going to be able to like feel it, right? And we're like, what if instead of animal movements, we did emotions? And I'm like, oh yeah, no, actually, in regular wuxia, that's a thing too. Like sorrowful fist exists. Like these are tropes that you can lean into. So like we dug into that, and so all of the characters, when you learn advanced martial arts, you tie them to an emotion rather than an animal style. And it might be rage, it might be sorrow, it might be disgust, which is my favorite. Because
Claw of depression.
right, exactly, right. But those unlock your more mystical abilities when you lean into that. And then the core idea is
I like that a lot. It's almost like you have a good and bad aspect to everything you learn in life, and that brings that forward.
It is, and that's actually how each of them work. Is there's essentially like a positive, internal thing that boosts you, or an external that uses it to affect others. And depending on the emotion, you can kind of guess how some of those look.
Right.
And it lets, like, when that person's like role playing and getting into that, it's like, oh, I'm the rage guy. Rah! Like, okay, great. Have a Benny, and you can use your bennies to power up your stuff.
Do different characters have pluses and minuses to learning the different emotions and the skills?
Basically, when you build your character, you choose the emotion.
Okay.
But like, and there's like a wheel of emotions, right? Like there's kind of 6 major ones, but when you make your own, like you can pick any emotion you want. Like, no, I want to be anxiety, right? Like, okay, cool. Let's lean into that. The major one is fear, and here's the stats for fear, but you get to kind of twist it and modify it a little bit and to bring out that anxious side of it.
Sure.
And then when you do your build, everything.
Your character affects how that
exactly.
comes out in that character.
Exactly. And the characters as a whole, their whole job is, there is a physical gateway to hell, right? And when you die, your spirit's supposed to go into the gate, off you go to hell. This is more like Chinese mythology. Everyone goes to hell. Like, that's just how it is, right?
Yeah.
As long as you don't come back out, it's not anyone's problem. When some ghosts do come back out of hell to affect the living, that's where the PCs come into play. Like, they're called ghost wardens, and their whole job is, when these bad things happen, go fix it. And that might mean punching a ghost and sending it back to hell, but it also might mean helping them finish their unfinished business so that they can rest in peace.
Oh, okay, sure.
So each situation that you hit, like, you've got to determine, is this an evil ghost that needs to be fought, or is this a tragic situation that we need to help fix?
White hair, that's probably not a good sign.
What's your problem with white hair? Come on.
No. So you have some playtimes coming up at Game Hole Con. Yes?
Yes, we have, so 2 o'clock today is a 7C tournament. I always tell people, we have a really good community that new people can just kind of jump in and, we'll pair them and they'll kind of teach them. And then tomorrow, Doomtown at 10 a.m.
Do you have any demos coming up? Any playtimes?
We're demoing at, to add about demos,
don't-
we have
yeah.
them at the table too. I've got a
you
little
can
table
demo at
set
the
up. You can
table.
demo
Excellent.
at the con.
Now, for us, Savage Alliance, we're just running like 96 Savage Worlds games, and if anyone wants into one, you can dive in and try. We've done demos at different places, but in this one's like, no, I think we got a lot of games on the books. Like, we're okay here.
Yeah.
Tabletop, I expect a 2-3 hour session, but with 7Cs, what?
So 7C, like when I can do the demo, it's usually like kind of a 5-minute overview. A game itself, they all vary. I usually tell people that Doomtown and 7C is about 30 to 60 minutes. 7C seems to go a little longer just because there is a 5-turn max, but you're dueling and moving around a city, and there's a lot of thoughts on what your characters can engage to do. So it does seem to be a little longer, where Doomtown has always had this murder blender where you could like go straight into town square and fight if you wanted to. So it's harder in Doomtown to gauge the time.
It's not have a good time town.
Yeah, it's not a good exactly.
Murder blender on a t-shirt.
Yeah. And for those that might new timers not familiar, both games that we have are based on role-playing products. So Doomtown's based on Deadlands, which is Savage Worlds, and then 7C based on the RPG that Chaosium now has. And like I said, Studio Agate is continuing with more RPG products.
What are you guys doing a Ghost Mountain one?
I've not been asked to do Ghost Mountain.
Well, and I want to follow up. You mentioned like, oh, RPG demos you expect to be 3 to 4 hours. Savage Worlds, Fast Furious Fun is our tagline. We do regular, 3-hour, 4-hour slot demos. We've done 1-hour ones too.
Oh, okay.
Let's get to the box.
Box.
Yeah, we're talking about the Ghost Mountain.
What's in the box?
What's in the box, right? So like this is one of those.
Awesomeness.
It's an unboxing show
Yeah.
too.
So like I say, on the one end you got our little books that we do. Then on the other end you got these box sets, and they've got everything you're supposed to need to play.
Wow.
So yeah, they're
That's
pretty
pretty.
beefy.
Yeah.
The first layer is going to be the combat maps, and we've got 2 double-sided maps. They're 30-inch by 24-inch when they fold out, 1-inch grids on them. They're gorgeous. Our art team was incredible on those. They're dry erase, wet erase. You can do anything you want with those.
Wow.
You got the cool packaging, and underneath, yeah, get through that. That looks like the GM screen.
Okay.
Yep, and you can fold it out. It's a 3-panel. Oh no, that's the battle mat. That's not the GM screen. That's the battle mat. So one of the sub rules in Savage Worlds is mass combat, right? And like this is Wuxia, so there are going to be armies of ghosts running around at a certain point, and you got to gather your forces and fight them. And this comes up a bunch of times, so we wanted to lean into that and do like a play aid
Sure.
for those mass battles to help people out with them. Next layer is the pawns. They are thick cardboard. They're all our beautiful character art. They've got unique outline die cuts rather than the standard die cuts
Sure.
that a lot of them use.
Mhm.
So they've got different silhouettes on the map, and
Nice.
they look cool. And so you can be very specific, like, oh, it's this monster that you see, rather than having these stand-ins and things
Right.
like that. Underneath that, we've got the pile of stuff. Just grab something and I'll tell you what it is. Okay, so what that is, those are our faux cards. So they've got like everyone that you can fight. We've got, different types of enemies. So for the GM, to make it easy on them, they can show the picture for
Yeah.
it, and then on the back it's got all the stats so they can look at that. Those are the archetypes that come with it. You can build your own character, but you don't have to. And these are like fold-out dossiers that have a picture on the front, a little backstory for you to get into, and then the character stats on the
Very nice.
inside. That is the action deck. So action deck, Savage World uses poker cards for initiative.
Okay.
High card goes first, low card, you deal them really fast, and it's one of those things that keeps combat very fluid.
That looks like a map.
That is the map of the land, right? And it is a silk cloth map, so you can open it up, and it actually comes up in the game because you're physically moving around,
Mhm.
and the army of ghosts has a position on it, and you can see, they're getting closer to our base. Like we need to rush home, and
Yeah,
do things,
yeah.
That's so cool.
It just keeps going, doesn't it?
It does. Like it's a crazy. I know. So there's the GM screen.
Are you
3-panel
remembering
fold-out.
how
Yeah.
so you can put it back?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's my job. Yeah. And the cool thing about the 3-panel GM screens, we keep them low because we like to be able to see over and
people,
look.
yes.
Yeah, like that's exactly it. But they've got the
like
stuff
that.
that you need there. And then, last but not least, that's the core book. Got all your rules, got all the adventure and things like that.
Okay.
So as you can see, like that's a big box and it is packed. Like
So
Wow.
that would contain the bit that rule book is a more expansive version of the player's books.
so, all our stuff needs the core rules to play.
Yeah,
So the
okay.
player's book actually kind of gives you everything you need. Like the core book's got like also the GM stuff, but really those rules are kind of covered in the player's book if you know where to look. Right?
Oh, okay.
So, but what the book has
I
is
learned
the
anything from
setting.
math class. It's in the back.
Yeah. All our setting books, they've got the setting rules that are specific to that place. Any character creation stuff that's specific to that world, and then the info about the world itself, the enemies, their statistics, and the adventure, which in this case is this epic 10-chapter thing. We've also
A
got
lot.
Savage Tales, we call it, drop in
Okay.
in the middle so that you can expand or contract your gameplay as you like.
So have you played each other's games?
Yes.
Yeah, my wife is the customer service rep for Pinnacle, so yeah.
And we like Doomtown.
Well, go to that 7C. So obviously for the role playing, there's going to be some story background, so you can get familiar with the world. I mean, you said Seven Seas was based on an RPG, but let's say I never played that, but I do kind of want to know what the world is and give me a little background
The
on that.
the basics on 7C is Three Musketeers, Pirates of the Caribbean, that kind of setting. The five factions in the box all can relate to a real life European nation. So Montaigne, that's the Musketeer deck that goes with France. Vadacci, the I say the Italian mobster deck, that's kind of what it is. Castile is the Spanish pirate. Usura is the Russian beatstick, and then Eisen's like the German war general. So each one has a different play style, but thematically in the world, there's a real life nation that kind of inspires each faction in the game. Now we only have five. The role playing game does have more. But as you know, for those who know Doomtown, we have six factions, and we've found it's very hard to continue balance if you want to add more factions to a card game. My history is L5R, and L5R had a ton of factions, and that was always the thing about trying to balance all of them. So 7C, we have talked about adding more. For instance, in 5 sales, thematically, Summation Commonwealth is the one we didn't do, and instead we added Montaigne as outsiders coming in for the story. And so we have an opening to add more. That's something we've kind of talked about, that maybe if we did a deluxe expansion, we could have 2 factions that like is a complete deck. Like you buy it and it just comes that way.
Yeah.
So we're exploring the idea, but we know that if we do it, then moving forward, that's more factions to balance. So, but those familiar with 7C, we did, I feel, pick 5 that are representative of the role-playing game. A lot of players are asking for Avalon because that's what they played in the CCG. So one thing we have in there, I haven't mentioned, there's a communal city deck that both players, and it is multiplayer, so you can have up to 4, use that spits out events, attachments, characters you can buy. And so some of those nations that you don't have in your deck are represented as mercenaries.
Is the general goal to be the last one standing, or?
So there's 3 ways you can win. One way is to dominate, control all 3 locations. Another way is to assassinate the enemy leader, and the other way is to get 7 renown points. That's the most common way. Renown points come out from the schemes that you play each turn. The game does take elements from other games. I always tell people the schemes are very similar to plots from the Game of Thrones card game. I'm not shy to say we stole it. We straight out said this is what they are.
What?
So, that's one way you can get points. Points come out on the locations, and then if you have control of location at the end of the turn, you get the points. And then you have schemes that do things like, for instance, the pirates have one that you get to see a random card in an opponent's hand. Well, if they do something with the card that turn, you get a renown point. So there's things like that that can trigger within the game.
Is there a drink in the tavern card?
There is drinking games and Night of Drinking that are both in the pirate deck.
Perfect. That's what we need. All right.
All right.
Well,
Is there anything else you wanted to share with us before we wrap up?
I did mention for Doomtown, Whispers of War will be up soon for pre-order. We're just waiting on some art that your guy Simon needs to physically dig out of archives.
Shout out to Simon.
Shout out to Simon. That we're kind of waiting on. So the great thing with Doomtown is we have almost 30 years now of art between original Doomtown, new art we commissioned, reloaded, this whole line. So we have a team that can look through the art and say, hey, we want to use this. And then Pinnacle, we get a hold of these guys and say, hey, hook us up with the high res so we can put them on cards. So we're just waiting on a few of those, and we're cleaning up some templating, and then it'll be good to go.
all right. Tell us where we can find your product again. Where we
So
find the games.
pineboxentertainment.com, there's a shop on there. There's a shop link, and then there's a EU UK shop link, and then it's in stores as well. But people can always, email, reach out to us, and we can make sure you can get what you need.
And where can we find you?
We're at peginc.com. Pinnacle Entertainment Group, peginc.com. And we're also got a Kickstarter going right now for Deadlands, The Abominable Northwest.
Ooh. Very cool.
All right,
Well,
and I'm sure we'll figure out some links and stuff that will
yep. Links will be
add to
below,
this,
and
to the Kickstart. Yep.
yeah, and thank you again
Figure out the links.
to Tommy, our beautiful Vanna White of the table.
Thank you, Tommy.
Thank
Did
you.
Great. Please catch us again. You can find us at guysgamesandbeer.net. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget about that beautiful whiskey box. Like us on Facebook, and we will see you at the next interview at GameholeCon 11.